All right, so we have today for you on Reroute Your Mindset, episode 4, Casey Samsel.
Tyler McPeak.
Nailed it. Okay, so we're going to talk to you about how we deal with our off seasons by means of food. So like intuitively eating, or like eating intuitively. I don't know, is that a good word?
I don't like it.
No, it's almost just like eating smart.
Yeah, just being, I think
conscientious, conscious.
Being conscious.
Yeah.
Just making correct decisions.
Right.
Every day, day in and day out. And then if you screw up, then it's obviously like trying to get right back on track and not turn those one little screw ups into like several days on end.
Right. And I think like the big thing too is you have to know that like just like one day on a meal plan isn't gonna make you, one day off isn't gonna break you, especially in your off season. In your prep, it could hinder some things, it could slow some things down depending on what you do in that day.
Yeah.
But in your off season, you have to just realize that if you have a day, like say you have like a wedding on the weekend or something, you take that day all to yourself, enjoy it with your loved ones and your family, your friends or whatever, and then the next day you just get right back on track. Or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for me, like just an example, and this method works for a lot of people, but you have to actually really have the discipline to use it and follow it. For me, Monday through Friday, I'll have a strict set of macros that I eat every day, and I don't stray away from them. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends, I find that because, and Oscar works a 9 to 5, or a 9 to 5. So I don't have any reason to like, go eat like crazy food or drink crazy drinks during the week. For my lifestyle, having those weekends open is what works for me. And then I jump right back on Monday and, kind of keep my progress going through the week.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
Well.
Not what you have been doing.
Usually what works best for me is I prefer structure. I know that you follow macros, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so she follows macros. I prefer more of like a structured kind of typical like bodybuilding style diet with the normal type of bodybuilding foods and everything, just because that's what digests best for my body. But for me, I like to have some type of like free meal or refeed meal midweek, which would be like following you like a Wednesday or something like that, and then I'll have my next one like on Saturday. But I mean that's kind of like the only time that because I prefer to have like that more structure as far as the certain foods, because those foods make me feel my best anyway. I feel like if I go off plan too much, like I have been recently, it makes me feel like shit. Like I almost feel like I have a hangover the next day or something from like the certain
like
foods.
Like a sugar and sodium and water. Yeah. It's a food hangover.
Yeah, and then literally like your body just feels like all out of whack because it's like my body's not used to it to begin with from like weeks on end of staying super strict or whatever. So, but yeah, like if I'm just, I don't want to call it intuitive eating, but I guess having more freedom.
With purpose. Like you have a purpose as to what you're eating.
Yeah.
You do.
Is that right? Is that where I was going with it?
I think so. I think that you have a purpose as to what you're eating, only because when you're eating healthy and you're eating your meals, that has a purpose. And then your refeeds Wednesday and Saturday, they have a purpose.
Right.
That's the metabolic purpose.
Well, and I don't necessarily know if it's like a metabolic purpose. It's more of like a mental thing for me. It's like, because I really don't know if I buy into the whole like, that it helps out your metabolism or whatever, because I think it takes a while for your metabolism to get crazy or out of whack,
Right.
Whereas I think more for me, it's just more of like a mental break, just to kind of give myself something that is off plan, that is tasteful.
Right. So, especially in your off season, I think that's super important. I do like how you like separate it, like you have it like every couple days, like every third day or something like that.
Right, so Wednesday for Saturday,
That's awesome. And so like, in like off season too, like I think that's a good idea because, and even doing something as like structured as 5 days a week, having like a meal plan and just sticking to it,
Right.
And then say you work a 9 to 5 or whatever, you stick to that, and then you have 2 days where you use the same macros,
but you can have like freedom,
but all flexible.
Yeah, I like that idea too.
Yeah, and you could still keep your goals in line, but you have that freedom. You have that, you're doing things that you want to do, but you're not doing things that are going to make you uncomfortable. You're going to have confidence in what you're doing. and know that you're still staying on the same plan and also working in, you know, some fun stuff along the way.
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely regardless of how much freedom you give yourself or don't give yourself or whatever, it's all discipline.
No, it really is.
It is.
And just like something that came to mind, kind of in the whole like intuitive thing. I've tried personally myself. I've tried to not use my scale and like be intuitive and just like take measurement, like eyeball stuff, and it messes with my head too much. Like I have to like.
Even though it's probably right.
Yeah, and it's just like I feel for I don't know. I just feel like for me myself that it's just like better to actually like stay on that structure of weighing stuff out and everything, unless it's like my free meal. But I just think the whole intuitive eating thing, I think it's just like hard to gauge the amount of food because I think it's so easy to overeat or to undereat being intuitive.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah. Because I mean, undereating one day of the week isn't going to hurt you, but if you set the tone for yourself and your metabolism and things like that, and you're doing that every single day for weeks on end, I feel like you're obviously going to be not doing the right thing for your body.
Yeah.
Or your mind. And that leads to like binging and all those other crazy things too.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, I think I've weighed all of my food for like 5 years now.
Yeah, so it's just like habit.
Yeah, and I don't care. I don't complain about it. I like it.
Yeah, no, I like it too, and that's I hear people complain or they'll make excuses and say, "Oh, I don't have time to weigh my stuff out. Oh, it's so annoying to weigh my stuff." Like I don't understand like what is annoying about it or what how much is it. It doesn't take much time out of preparing your food just to weigh it out, just to make sure you're eating the correct amount for your goals, because that's most important, is just always trying to take a step forward towards your goals rather than just kind of like being intuitive and like not taking that extra step, just like that extra little bit, maybe like a minute extra that it takes to measure your stuff out.
Right. And I know that like for some people, like when they do want to take that free day, like my clients have an allowance of like one free day usually, or maybe even two, depending on where their metabolism is, how their body's responding to the extra food and stuff like that after a show, and in their off seasons, having that one free day allowance, like I think like the answer for like intuitively eating on that type of day, where you're just kind of eating and you're not logging or whatever. I like to pick one treat like that I've been dying for. Usually it's like donuts, and I won't just have one, I'll have like two, but then I'll literally take everything else from around my day, I'll add in a ton of veggies, and I'll keep my protein super high, like and that's just kind of like where I'm at with that. Like I sacrifice having like awesome epic meals, like with soup, potatoes, and rice and all that stuff in the middle, but like for me, that's how I find like the balance in like my free days.
And that's probably the main reason, or one of the main reasons too, that you're able to stay lean, because you do have that discipline.
Right.
Where if like a lot of people don't have that discipline, it's almost like when they give themselves something that they've been craving, it's like a trigger goes off, and then they just say screw it, and they end up like going crazy with a bunch of food, and then the next day, then they have to deal with being guilty, and then like setting themselves back, and then feeling like shit and everything. So, like she was just saying earlier, it all still boils down to just having discipline.
Yeah, it really does, and you have to practice it every single day. Like it's not always easy for us. We just do it, and we do it to the best that we can. Yeah. And what we can afford, actually. So, but yeah, it takes time, it takes patience, and like I've been doing it for a couple of years now. So. And I still have days that I struggle, but I don't ever let myself, get too far into my head to the point where I'm dragging myself down a different space where if you want to be healthy and do everything correctly, you've got to stay in a good headspace. So be patient, be kind to yourself.
Always be kind.
Yeah. Worry less is on his goal board.
Yeah, goals.
For 2019. He's not worried about anything.
Not a damn thing.
Not a dang thing. All right.
Are we not allowed to cuss?
What?
Are we not allowed to cuss?
No. I think I cuss.
You said dang.
Oh, should I not have said dang? Alright, we're gonna cuss in this next segment. So this, it's about to get real, folks. So it says, what are you and Tyler's weekly habits that contribute to your growth? Podcasts, books, intention setting, and etc. So I know you read a lot and you do podcast stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't do that stuff.
Okay.
But that's how that's a good like comparison as to, and I can kind of explain like why I do it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm actually getting more into it, but I have a reason as to why I take my time with it. But some people, they thrive off of it and they can really build themselves from it because they can take it and digest it differently.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for me, it goes in waves. I'm not even gonna lie. Like it's not like an everyday thing for me anymore. It has been like an everyday thing where I would start my day off with some type of like motivational YouTube video with like positive stuff and everything, which I think is good. But like I said, it just kind of goes in waves. Like sometimes I'm on it like every single day, and then sometimes like here recently, I haven't been watching it much. But I do think it's great to start your day off in a positive way as soon as you wake up. Like try not to look at your phone immediately, try not to get on social media, try not to look at your text message, try not to like look at your emails or anything like that right away, because the way you start your day I think does set the tone for the day. So when I do wake up every morning, I try not to, get on social media as soon as I wake up. I try to, take at least like 15 to 20 minutes just to kind of like say some things to myself that I'm grateful for to start the day off, and then just kind of like mentally plan out what I've got going on during the day, like kind of what type of like little small goals that I want to hit for the day, because I do set goals, like daily goals. So I have like daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals, and everything like that. So I kind of like set stuff and just kind of set the tone for the day. And then at the end of the day, then I review my day and just kind of see like, did I nail what I wanted to nail? Did my workout go the way that I wanted to work out or whatever? So I kind of like review my day at the end of the day. But as far as books go, I'm reading Relentless by Tim Grover.
What is that?
So Tim Grover was an elite trainer for like Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade, Scottie Pippen, like all like elite, Kobe Bryant, elite like NBA players. And so the book kind of just dives into the mindset of being relentless.
Oh, okay.
And so
that's awesome.
It's pretty good.
Well, for me, like I literally like zoned out on that whole thing. Like I was so zoned in because I like literally just learned so much.
About me?
Just because like I almost could consider myself like a little behind with like kind of like being in touch with like that kind of stuff, and just like rechecking myself and just making sure that I'm in good mental health all the time, because this does mess with you a little bit.
Yeah.
Because what you see on the outside, reflects on the inside and vice versa. So whatever way you look at it. So like for me, like I try not to like look at my phone like in the morning, but lately I've just been waking up right away and just looking at my phone first thing.
Well, it's kind of hard not to, especially when you have clients checking in, to get on your emails because you want to like get on top of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like for me, I'm working on currently like not taking things so personally. If we're being real and honest. So for starters, for me, that's why I started opening like some books. Now I'm reading a little bit and trying to like, just trying to like connect with like those feelings and trying to bring myself back down to a place where I can stay, like professional and calm and in a good headspace myself.
Yeah.
As I'm going through phases too, my girls are going through phases, so it's really important for me to notice these things and be able to train myself to stay in a good headspace at all times.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like for me, like I said, I started to read a little bit, and I do it like very sparingly. I do it almost only as needed. You know what I mean? Instead of like an everyday kind of ritual, which I haven't tried that method, which I think could possibly work too. But again, like you have to practice that every day because it takes time. Like that's something you have to kind of make yourself do.
Forming habits.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then like he's got like this goal board here, and I used to, be able to write my stuff down in front of me, and lately I haven't been. So I could be better with that too. But honestly, for me, I think forming good habits, like I pride myself on my discipline. I'm just really good at just sticking to a plan, and just keeping my head straight and focused on, goals for me, like, like in a day or in a week or in a month from now. I'm good at that, and that makes me feel good that I have that good discipline and I have those good habits. The flexible dieting helps me stay on track, helps me keep my mind clear. and doing these weekly sessions with you and being able to talk about things and educate people, that's kind of the thing that helps me too. Home. But yeah.
I say a lot too
But
though. But
we didn't curse yet because I got really sentimental.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's
So I want to jump into something real quick. As far
Yeah.
as like you were saying that you are trying to be better at not taking things so personal. A book that helps me out with like that stuff, because I was kind of like a similar type of way, where I would take not everything, but I would take a lot of stuff personal, or I would care about a lot of stuff that I shouldn't be caring about.
Yeah.
So there was this book that I read. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. There's a cuss word.
That's it.
but no,
Italian.
but no, it's a definitely good read. So I suggest it to anyone. But it basically just kind of explains that you should not care so much about or stress or sweat like the small stuff, like little small stuff that kind of happens in our daily life, because a lot of people get too caught up in sweating the small stuff or worrying about what other people think about them or stuff like that. And
that's hard because we're so critical of ourselves already.
Yeah, but in the scheme of things, it's like most people really don't give a shit what you have going on in your life to a certain extent, just because they have so much of their own stuff going on.
Right.
And it's like it's easy to get in that mindset where it's like you care about what every person thinks. Because I used to be that way, where it was like I wanted everybody to like me, and it's like I cared what everybody thought of me, and I was like, even like stuff with like diving into like social media, I was like even almost like kind of scared to like be 100% myself, because it's like I didn't want to be like, I was scared to be like judged or whatever if I posted something and somebody didn't like it, or if if I offended somebody. So but no, that book helped out a lot.
That's awesome.
To not give a fuck.
So that's who you are now. It's amazing. I like you now.
Oh, you didn't like me before?
I don't. When did the switch happen? Because all I've known is this guy.
Which one?
I'm done. Turn it off.
Same shit. Okay.
Do you tan?
No, I'm saying like the actual color of like the whole screen.
It's because of my pants.
It's like making everything orange.
It's my pants. I wore orange because I needed some bright colors in my life today. So, yeah.
Sorry for taking you off though.
I don't remember what I was going to say. So I think you had said something about, wanting everybody to like you and caring about having like people, like, so my point is, I have learned in the past like 2 years that no one is out to get you. No one is just out there plotting to get you. Like, there's people that are going to break you down and try to make you mad and try to, break your heart and break your spirit and things like that. But nobody is out to get you personally every single day, all day long.
Yeah.
So you have to remember, like, if there's something going on in your life and something, you take something a little bit too personally, it's usually a reflection of what's going on inside of yourself.
No, exactly. I totally agree with you.
Not what's in between the conversation, know. So sometimes you do have to like step back and realize that it is a inside of you and not really not the artifacts that are kind of floating around in front of you. But I think that's it. We can save some more of this really cool stuff for next time for Fab.
So thanks for tuning in to episode 4 of Re-Rack Your Mindset.
As always, slam your questions or comments below. If you want any help, hit on Tyler, anything you want. Throw it out there.
Just throw it out there.